walking, and guess what? I love coffee, right? But I've done something kind of magnificent. I haven't been to Starbucks in a few weeks, and I know some people are like boycotting Starbucks right now for political reasons, which honestly, the reason I don't like what's happening right now in the Middle East, I don't like it. I really don't. But I can't control those things. But honestly, I just don't boycott companies because local people work there. That's the reason. But the reason I've stopped getting Starbucks is because monetarily, I can make my own coffee with K-cups. And I've been going to Trader Joe's and buying like coconut cream. And it's really good for the coffee. And I just love doing that. So that's one way I've been trying to save money. And I do love when I just make my own food to eat for like when I take the time to like chop up a salad or something. But if you don't have time to like food prep and you have a Trader Joe in your area, I really like Trader Joe because they have a lot of really neat little items that you can get. And one place that I went to recently that I realized I really enjoyed was Grocery Outlet. I want to go to another grocery outlet again because they have a lot of little things that you wouldn't expect. But I found vinegar there, like a big thing of vinegar for $3.83. They do have some plant-based options, but I didn't really see anything I wanted there. But I found 2 avocados, and yeah, so I got a few things there. But I really wish we had a grocery outlet in our area. We don't have one of those yet, but if you don't have a Trader Joe, you should definitely try Aldi, because Trader Joe is basically like the American version of Aldi, is what they say. They have a lot of similarities. The only thing is I think Trader Joe has some of the pre-made stuff, which I don't always go for pre-made, but if I don't have time to chop up a salad or make a sandwich, it's cheaper to go to Trader Joe's and get like a couple of their wraps, which have good ingredients and are really satisfying. Or even just later, I know some people always make fun of like frozen food. They're like, oh, it's not healthy, it's like a TV dinner. That's not true. Frozen food has evolved a lot. Like I've been getting the plant-based vegan Trader Joe, hi, how you doing, Sigma, options the last couple days because I had their wraps and salad, and I wanted to try, I did like a vegan curry, and it had like the seitan, but they didn't call it that on the ingredients. They said vital wheat gluten. It's basically seitan. It's not shaitan, not Satan, not shaitan, seitan, Seitan. It's a type of wheat. Okay, some people get really confused. Like, I don't know, like, I don't really like that word. Let's call it vital wheat gluten. I don't know why it's called that. I didn't name it that, but it was pretty good. The sky's really beautiful. Look at that. It's so beautiful looking at the sky. And here's some orange groves, like orange trees. Like when you walk on this little walking trail like this, we have orange trees. We have a beautiful, it's kind of overcast, like a marine layer. It's kind of sprinkly this morning. There's sun streaking through the clouds. One thing I think I've never become 100% acclimated to in the San Bernardino Valley, as opposed to living on the desert side of the mountain when I was young, is that like in the springtime, you have the clearest blue skies. You do here too, by the way, on days that it's sunny. But somebody commented on a video once like, oh my gosh, is the sky really that blue in Southern California? And I'm like, actually, yeah, it is. It's really that blue. But we're getting more progress. Like if you turn around this way, you can see like a big high-rise building in the distance. That's the Loma Linda Emergency Hospital. That's the one high-rise building you can see in this area. But it used to be at one time, there were no high-rise buildings here. It's changing. I hope they never take away this area with the green belt. But there are more houses than there used to be. This used to all be orange groves at one time. And before that, it was all you know, just natural lands and whatnot. So anyway, this is a grapefruit tree. There's some gypsum weed down there. It's not, I don't consider it a weed, but that's what it's called. I used to see people collect the seeds for gypsum weed. I don't know exactly what they do with it, but I used to, and then there's a whole bunch. I don't understand why people don't pick their fruit off the trees, because there's tons of fruit just rotting. That always used to bother me. And then there are people, like, we live in an area, by the way, a lot of times when you go to the store to buy avocados, of course, like, you're gonna buy ones from agricultural areas. A lot of the really good avocados that you go to the store to buy are just from Mexico, honestly. But locally, a lot of people can own an avocado tree on their land if you take care of it, but a lot of people just let them rot. I'm like, why? Why do you let it rot? You should pick your fruit, pick your vegetables. I don't get it. Like, some people would just leave it for the birds to get. And I never really understood that. Like, if you have fruit, like, why don't you pick your fruit? And you're letting all the fruit rot. To me, that's just a little disappointing. I don't know why people do that. But what do I know? Maybe they just don't like grapefruit. I know people don't like grapefruit. Grapefruit's actually really good. I love grapefruit because somebody that I know gives me grapefruits because they don't really like it, but I love it. It's a little tart, but you chill a grapefruit in the fridge and you cut it in half, and no sugar, okay? Grapefruit does not need sugar, in my opinion. You chill a grapefruit, it's like bitter and tart, and I just love that flavor. And I love that, like, with coffee, like drinking coffee with a little bit of creamer, like vegan plant-based creamer and grapefruit. It's very tart. There's a tiny bit of sweetness that comes through in the grapefruit. Most people can't detect it. Most people just really detest grapefruit, but it has a tiny bit of sweetness to it, just not much. But I really do love grapefruit. But yeah, I just see a lot of citrus trees, and I find it disappointing that people don't pick their fruit and let it go bad. But I don't know the rationale. Maybe people just don't want to pick it. I don't know. Or they're not supposed to pick it. I know in some areas you can't pick it. I don't really understand why. But it just seems sad to see the fruit, like, decomposing when I feel like it could be picked and consumed. And a lot of people have pointed out, why don't we plant in cities or communities or everywhere really, like, fruit bearing trees so everybody could just have fruit? And I think that's a great idea, and I think that's wonderful. It could be wonderful for everybody, and that's not a bad idea at all. I think a lot of people that are pro, like, fruit trees are into that. But I know a lot of people are not, because they're like, oh, it would be a problem. And I'm like, why? But alas, if you want a fruit tree, you kind of have to have one on your own property, because I just don't foresee any city ever having fruit trees for the general public. I think that they should. That I think would be great. But, alas, I just don't foresee that happening. But it's a kind of a cloudy, overcast day, and I've just been enjoying the California weather. It's kind of cool right now. Not hot at all. Like, there's a breeze. It's May. Into May, I would have thought it can get hot sometimes, but I don't think it's hot at all. It has to be maybe like 65 degrees outside. It's pretty chilly, in my opinion. That's chilly to me. Some people probably think that's really, really hot. I don't. I think 100 degrees is great. I love warm weather. I just do. I'm always going to love warm weather. Plus, it's a dry heat in Southern California. It's not humid at all. It's very tolerable. And here is the little creek. Some people are like, oh, it's so desolate. But I think the little creek is cute. Yesterday, I heard frogs in the little creek. It was so adorable. I love frogs. And I told that story about the tadpoles from when I was a kid. I just think any area where you can walk and be out in nature, it's good for you. You should get out there and you should walk. If you have an opportunity to walk, you definitely should. Was that a raindrop that fell on me? I don't know. I think there's a little bit of sprinklies, a little bit of sprinkle. Something came out of the sky, like a little raindrop. Anyway, I love walking for like just transportation. But if you don't walk to get places, you could walk for fun. And I feel like communities should take walking back. I know a lot of people say, well, our communities are not made for walking. That's really not true in Southern California because a lot of places have sidewalks. They just don't want to walk. People don't want to walk. If you don't want to go walking, that's fine. But the truth is there's always been people who walked. Some people just don't want to walk. But walking is healthy for you and it's free. I know some people, I've decided. I'm finally trying to get to a point in my life where I could just have like focus on my opinions, because I feel like for a long time I always let other people's opinions kind of sway how I felt, and I regret that. Taylor Swift, I mean, she's okay, but who do I really love? I love Duran Duran. I love the soundtrack of Magnificent Century, Duran Duran, because I was a kid in the 80s. Duran Duran. The Moody Blues was from my mom's generation. I love the Moody Blues. Very atmospheric. I love some Turkish music. I love the Scorpions. I like Prince. Prince is the best. So Taylor Swift's okay. I wouldn't pay to go to any of her concerts personally because I'm not a fan like that. Her songs are okay, but if I'm going to listen to music, what I've been listening to right now, Atake. I think it's a Turkish composer with Magnificent Century soundtrack to Magnificent Century and Magnificent Century Cosm. I've been really into that lately. I love George Michael, and when he was in Wham, I love that. I love 80s music, some 70s of course, but I'm a hardcore 80s music. There is some newer songs that I like recently that have that 80s flair to them that I like. She has some good songs. I'm just not a super fan, but I've listened to her a couple of her songs, but I'm not super fan, but her music isn't bad or anything. But I'm more into 80s music because that's something from when I was a kid. I just had like mega nostalgia. Oh, U2. I love U2, Bono, U2, Scorpions, I mentioned them, Prince, Culture Club, big Culture Club. George Michael was a big one that I love. Boy George, I love him from Culture Club. Those are the bands I like. I love 80s music, my favorite all time. And I like newer music that kind of has that 80s flair to it. Like there's certain songs recently that came out that I thought that are reminiscent to me. I like when they do a video that's kind of like out in the streets where you see people that's not like having to be too ostentatious. I love that. I love musicians that I think could play at a small venue and just be really talented, like doing acoustic guitar. And I don't know, those are the kind of bands I like. I just listen to songs and I try to find ones that resonate with me. But I would say 80s music is my favorite. And I listen to a little bit of everything that I love. But I think there were a couple of Taylor Swift songs that I liked. There was one that I thought was okay. But if I had a choice, right now I'd probably be listening to Magnificent Century soundtrack. I think Atake, is that how you say his name? I'll have to look up the composer, but it's basically the songs that go with the Magnificent Century. I was really into the first and second season of Magnificent Century, the love story of Harem Sultan and Suleiman the Magnificent of the Ottoman Empire. I was somewhat into the first couple seasons, but then it kind of went off on a deep end when, I don't know, it just went way off the rails in my opinion. Of course it's fictionalized, but I just feel like, I don't know, I think it was better in the beginning and the series just went way too out there. And then Mariam Azarelli, the first actress that was playing Harem, she left the show and they replaced her with another actress, and I never finished watching it. But I watched many episodes, and every episode is like 2 hours, is like a movie. But my gosh, Turkish composers might not be famous in the US, but they're pretty darn amazing. Like the music that they have for their series, like their historical dramas, it's very moving. Anyway, and then Kazım was really good too. I love that. And then, so yeah, those are some of the songs that I like. And yeah, what was I gonna say about walking? I think people should walk more, be out enjoying nature, like enjoy your time in nature. You don't always have to be inside. You don't have to be in a gym to be like doing fitness, in my opinion. I don't think so. You definitely don't. I've been thinking too, like, I just want to enjoy my life in the happiest way possible. I don't want to spend any more time on earth like feeling sad or upset about anything. That's my opinion about all that. Like, I feel like people should try to be happy. People should try to be joyful, in my opinion. Like, people should like strive to spend their time on earth doing things they enjoy, and you should try to cultivate your own opinion. And if you're somebody that you feel like you really enjoy something, sometimes I feel like don't tell too many people. You could tell your YouTube channel, or you could tell your social media, because I feel like the right people seem to gravitate to you on social media. But just in day-to-day life, I find if you love something, don't tell people around you. Like if you're an introverted person, because like I feel like they want to diminish your joy for something, or if they don't like something, they want to take that away from you in some way. Or just like if you have goals or anything, like I wouldn't tell people those too much, because I feel like there's a lot of people that don't want to see you succeed in life. So sometimes you should just quietly do things, and then once you've achieved it, let the right people know about it. But you don't have to tell everybody, you know. There's a lot of things I think it's better to tell nobody. Well, if it's things you like, yes, I think that's okay. You can tell people that you know will appreciate it. But if it's a goal, I always find it so interesting. Like the creek stops running when you get here. I think the water's diverted down that way, because I hear it's still running. I think they somehow divert it that way. Hi, how you doing? So the water's diverted that way, but actually this is a very water-rich area of Southern California, like there, because we're near the mountains, and that's all of this water comes from the San Bernardino Mountains down. Water rights are highly contested in Southern California, though. It's such an interesting thing. Cities like get in fights over water. Like one says, I own that, but no, they own that. Even like if the water's like resides in this one city in the mountains, the city down in the valley says, no, we own it because we bought the water rights. But anyway, hope you guys have a good time, and I will talk to you on my next walking or whatever adventure I decide to share. And it's spontaneous because that's how we keep it fun. I come on here randomly. I can't commit to any kind of schedule of any kind, just because I do YouTube when the inspiration strikes. I don't have any kind of schedules. Thanks for watching.